For all the accolades and sales that Naughty Dog's Uncharted series has received in history, it's amazing to think that the franchise is less than a decade old. It's also amazing when you consider that before Uncharted Drake's Fortune released, Naughty Dog was recognized primarily for its awesome platforming titles like Crash Bandicoot on the PlayStation 1 and Jak and Daxter on the PlayStation 2. Uncharted not only offered a brand new franchise juggernaut for Sony, along with exposing us to the talents of Nolan North, but it remains one of the most consistently excellent video game franchises of all time. When Naughty Dog approached the first Uncharted, it did so with the mindset for realism and pushing the PlayStation 3 for all it was worth. Despite comparisons to Tomb Raider, Uncharted emphasized cover-based shooting and an adventuring style more akin to Pulp Fiction magazines with obvious inspiration taken from Indiana Jones. Uncharted had a development cycle of 2 years and incorporated a new system that used the PS3's cell processor to create layered animations for realistic characters. Other new technologies never used by Naughty Dog before, like pixel shaders and parallel processing, came into play, along with realistic lighting and water simulation. The new hardware and push to creating something new and innovative resulted in a rather unreliable development pipeline, but that didn't stop the first game from selling 2.6 million copies and winning tons of critical acclaim. The bar was set, but Naughty Dog was well aware of the mistakes in development for Uncharted. With more than 2 years of development and pre-production, Uncharted 2 Among Thieves would release in October 2009. The game had significantly bumped up its in-game cinematic animations with 564 animations compared to Uncharted's 80, a revamped engine which allowed for more realistic environments and roughly 90 to 100% utilization of the PS3's hardware. Thanks to a much bigger sense of scale and adventure, not to mention memorable set pieces, Uncharted 2 Among Thieves would become one of the most critically acclaimed games of all time, holding a 96 score on Metacritic and selling over 6 million copies as of March 2015. It also helped cement its protagonist Nathan Drake as Sony's mascot of sorts, while also introducing co-op and competitive multiplayer to the series for the first time. Interestingly, 2011 would see not one, but two Uncharted titles, with Uncharted 3 Drake's Deception and Uncharted Golden Abyss, the latter a prequel for the PlayStation Vita and developed by SIE Bend Studio instead of Naughty Dog. Despite being one of the weakest games in the series, Golden Abyss still earned a fair amount of acclaim from critics. And Uncharted 3 Drake's Deception, like its predecessor, the game was a huge success, selling more than 6 million copies as of March 2015 and having a 92 score on Metacritic along with winning several awards. Uncharted 3 further improved on its visuals and physics, along with introducing effects like fire, sand, smoke, and water dynamics. Animations and textures were more realistic, and overall, Uncharted 3 took up 50 GB of disk space compared to Uncharted 2's 25 GB when all was said and done. Despite some criticism of been there, done that, it was yet another must-play game for the PS3. The story behind Uncharted 4's development is interesting and partly controversial, primarily due to the departures of Amy Hennig, who was the series writer and creative director, and Justin Richmond, who was the director for Uncharted 3 and would also be the director of Uncharted 4 at the time. Disagreements between Hennig and Bruce Straley and Neil Druckmann, the directorial duo who helmed The Last of Us, were rumored to be the cause. Nonetheless, Straley and Druckmann would act as directors for Uncharted 4, and much of the initial story, along with 8 months of shooting, had been scrapped. Naughty Dog had also revealed that this would be Nathan Drake's final adventure. Though the series wasn't necessarily ending, Uncharted 4 A Thief's End would mark the end of Drake's story. Uncharted the Nathan Drake Collection released in October 2015 for the PS4 and featured remastered editions of all 3 games with significant visual improvements. It also featured access to the closed multiplayer beta for Uncharted 4. Though it was supposed to release by 2015 end, Uncharted 4 was delayed to March 2016, then April 2016, and is finally due to release on May 10th. Despite the delays and concerns of downgrades, the game has netted significant critical acclaim thus far. Even though Nathan Drake is bowing out and riding off into the sunset, the franchise itself will remain one of gaming's highlights for years to come. Will that still hold true when the Uncharted movie releases? We'll have to wait and see, but let us know in the comments what you think of the franchise, and we'll see you next time.